My name's Dan, and since I didn't have enough room inside the house, to build an area where I can grow hydroponically, I decided to build a greenhouse, in an area in the backyard that was suitable for this. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this video is kind of show you how I decided to build the greenhouse. If you visit my website, you'll be able to get the blueprints. Okay, so the greenhouse, I chose a corner on the greenhouse that gets, or a corner on the backyard where it gets plenty of sunlight throughout the day. And what I started with was I kind of cleared an area on the ground, 10 by 10, and that's the first thing I did was create the foundation. So I'm using a 10 2x4 and a 10-foot 2x4 on this side as well, and just made a square. Now if you noticed, because of the fencing I'm going to use as the walls, the fence was a 4-foot fence. So what I did was made one end, let me get my shadow out of the way, made one end of the greenhouse a little shorter, so I'm actually from end to end it's 8 feet on the sides, and in the front I do go all the way from end to end 10 feet. Okay, so the inner part of the greenhouse is going to be 10 by 8, and that's mainly because of the fencing that I bought that I'm going to use as the walls. It was only 4 foot wide, so if you buy like a 5-foot wide fence, then you can go the full 10 by 10. Okay, and the way I started was, of course, the bases first. Then I created 3 different frames, and I have it kind of tilted so that the front end, or I should say the right side of the greenhouse, is going to be lower than the left side. So I have the right side 6 feet high, and the left side, let me move some of these, those are going to be for the doors, but on the left hand side it's 8 foot high. And then I kind of cut it in an angle that's probably like a 10 or 15 degree angle, and it's going down from the 8 foot down to the 6 foot, and again that's just like a 10 or 15 degree angle that I cut. Then I have 3 frames, one in the center that goes across, and then one in the back of the greenhouse, which is basically the same thing. 8 foot on one side, 6 foot on the other. And to make it sturdier, I put a 2x4, 4 foot, going across. So there's a 4 foot piece right there, and another 4 foot piece right there between the front and the middle frame, and the middle to the back frame. Okay, and that was my framing of the greenhouse. And once I had the frame up, then with the fencing that I bought, as you can see, it's just a roll of fence. It was 4 foot by 100 foot. I think they call it horse fence. And all I did was just roll it out and just staple it. See how I use the staples to hold it down? I just stapled it down. It went all the way across on top to the other end, and then went down on this side and just stapled it as well. Okay, here's the shed, and like I said, the next step was to put up the frames for the door. and for the window. So on the front, I made a 3-foot wide door. And at least a frame for it, and then I'll make the door to fit right inside. Okay, so now we're getting closer to the finish. So now we have the frame, and I put the wiring around the walls. Let me go inside. So I'm inside the greenhouse right now, looking out. And here are the walls with the fencing. Here's how the greenhouse looks so far from a wide angle. So you can see I have a 8x10 base. The frame, the wall frames, I made it taller on one end, 8 foot tall. I'm sorry, 7 foot tall, and made the shorter end 6 feet. So it kind of tilts down to the right. The frames in the middle are for the door, and I have one just similar to that in the back for the window. And then I used, I think what it's called, horse fencing, and basically stapled that to the frame to give me a sturdy wall. Here's the door that I put together for the greenhouse. I'm using it's 2x2 wood, and I made it 6 feet high and a little bit less than 3 feet across, so that'll fit in the frame. So it'll fit on that frame. And as you can see, using the same fencing, I'm just going to put it over the door and just staple it to the side and cut the ends to make it fit. And then I'll tarp it with a clear tarp to finalize the door. That should do the door. Alright, okay. So now after the frame and the wiring was all stapled down, then I started with tarping, using the clear tarp, and starting to lay that over the frame. I started with one big piece here on the side. It's a 10 foot by 25 foot tarp, and I just basically draped it over all the way to the other side, and it was perfect. It was a little long, but it worked out great. I'll just cut the end, and that's how I got my side walls, my roof, and the other side wall. And what I do is just staple down. See if I can find a staple here. Yeah, staple down the tarp every foot or so. I've been doing. I don't know if you need that many or more, but it seems to be working out pretty well. Now this is the front, so I'm cutting. I bought a second sheet, so you can see, or I had a second sheet in the garage, so and I'm just cutting it into pieces so that it'll fit on the front wall. So I started with this one, and I still have the other side here, and the back wall. I still need to tarp that. So I'll go ahead and finish up the tarping, and then and show you how it looks after I'm done with that. Okay. Okay, here we go. It's not pretty, but it's done. At least the outside, right? I can try to make it look a little more presentable by cutting the bottoms, or just cutting the tarp so that it looks a little bit better. But it's not too bad. It'll do the job. Now I can use this outdoor greenhouse to grow my hydroponic plants and be able to control the environment a little bit better. Here's the back with the window. So I placed the window with the hinges on the bottom. That way I can flip it open and let the hot air out, since hot air seems to travel upwards. I wanted the top part open. And let's travel to the front. Here's the front view. Yeah, it's not very pretty, but it's going to do the job. So as you can see, the left-hand side is 7 feet high. The right-hand side, I made it 6 feet high. That way there's a tilt going down. So when it rains, we don't get much rain in Vegas, but when it does rain, we get a lot of it. And it'll have a way to go. It'll go down. And here's the door. There's a gap on top, but that's okay. Just going to let it ventilate a little bit. And I still need to put you know, some handles and maybe a lock or something. But I'll do that next. Here's the inside. It's already getting humid in here, and I've only finished this up about a half hour ago. So here's the door. We'll close that. That way you can take a look at the inside of the door. And there are the hinges that I put. I just put 2. And it seems to be working pretty good. And there's the window. And again, the hinges are on the bottom. And right now I just have a wire holding it up, but I'll put some kind of a clasp on there. There we go. That'll help ventilate. Like I said, it's not pretty, but it'll do the job.